Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Hey guys, welcome back to Wager Talk TV. It is Thursday, December 15th. We are happy to have you here with us. I'm Andrew McInnis. I have Carmine, Bianco with me, and Bryan, Leonard. We are here to break down 4 games. We've got best bets at the end of the show. Look forward to a great show with these two gentlemen. Guys, for me last night, an 0-2 night, first pretty bad night in a few weeks. It's going to happen, but I was happy to deliver with my puck time best bet. Those best bets on the show have been going very, very well. So we'll try and get another winner as far as the best bets go, and we'll try and bounce back with the client plays, which, of course, you can find at wagertalk.com, the same place you can find both Bryan and Carmine. Carm, we didn't have you on here yesterday, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I took the day off. I had to get some stuff at the doctor. I was in the waiting room waiting, and I'm just talking in the live chat with everyone. I listened to you and Prez talk about, Andrew, that I got to bring this up, talking about the Montreal Canadiens and Ottawa. And I just thought, come on, Prez, the Ottawa Senators, I get the price. Ottawa Senators are playing well. I think they turned the corner. They're going to get that win. Just take them in regulation time. But he took Montreal in that one. And listen, Ottawa's playing better. They're getting better, and they've got a somewhat favorable schedule between now and Christmas Day. So there's going to be a few more wins in there, hopefully, for them. But that was yesterday. Let's talk about today. There's a lot of good games, Andrew. It's a full slate of action today, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've got 4 plays up at Wager Talk, and their best bet selections are 4%ers, whereas I've been releasing 3% for most of the NHL season. I'm looking forward to the show. And of course, anytime this man is on, I'm always looking forward to it. Bryan Leonard. What's going on, Bri?
Hey guys, good to be back on bright and early here on a Thursday and talking some hockey. Nice card of hockey today. You mentioned Prez with Montreal. I actually think Montreal is a team that I want to bet on more than I go against them right now. They got a young team, and they're starting to play well together, and especially at home. They looked really good, and the prices are outrageous. The prices are acting like they're as bad as they were last year. I think there's value to be had. If I was in one of those segments where you buy, sell, I'd buy Montreal right now.
Well, Bryan, I don't know what I did to Carmine for him to open this show off by just ripping the Habs.
No.
But, geez, I don't know.
I'm not ripping.
Hey,
This wasn't about the Habs, Andrew. This wasn't about the Habs. It was about Ottawa.
I'm joking.
It was about,
I'm joking.
I know. And if anything, I was trying to rip the Prez. So the guy this guy went on to Amazon and literally ordered, can I get 100 of these salmon colored shirts? Because every show I see him on, he's there. He showed up to dinner when I was in Vegas, the first night I'm in Vegas at Sinatra's restaurant. He shows up and joins Stacy and I for dinner and literally takes off his jacket right at the table. And what's he wearing? The salmon colored t-shirt at the dinner table. So he bought him in bulk. He must have got a good deal somewhere. Knowing Lawrence, he always gets a deal somewhere. So Salmon Boy, if you're watching, and I know you're not, I look forward to being on Wager Talk TV after this. Sorry, Wager Talk today after Puck Time today, as we discuss the World Cup, and seeing you in that salmon colored shirt again.
Yeah, it's a minus 2,000. It's a solid colored shirt from Prez, and probably pretty bright colored as well. He's trying to be like Mark Zuckerberg, just not worried about his fashion, just toss on the same color shirt every day. I don't know if we can compare those two guys, but anyway, For this show, we're breaking down the Penguins, Panthers. We've got the Leafs, Rangers, Predators, Jets, and the Blues taking on the Oilers, guys. Let's start things off with the first game. Get right into it here. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers, slight home favorites here. Pittsburgh minus 105, total at 6.5 here in this one. And, Carmine, I think that this Florida Panthers team, they're a team that I think I talked about on the show, I think last week or a couple of days ago, where they just I think they didn't have the right chemistry to start off the season, but I believe they're going to start finding it. I think that, Bryan talks about bet on teams, and I know Florida, they're still up there in the standings, but I think that we haven't seen the best effort from Florida quite yet. I've been a fan of Pittsburgh. I've made some money on them this season, but I do think this could be a spot to make some money with the Florida Panthers. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Andrew, here's the thing with this one. I thought the Panthers had turned the corner and we're going to start stringing some wins together, and then they lose that game in Tampa Bay, and then they come home and they lose to the Seattle Kraken. I get it; they won their last game, but that was against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have been, at least when Columbus is playing, the upper teams have been like a whipping boy type thing, but. Damn, like you look at the price, and this seems like it's such a great buy low price on Florida at minus 115. I don't want to take a side here. The total is at 6.5, and I really want to take the under, and it's because Pittsburgh's playing well. I don't think there's a player on Pittsburgh right now who's not playing well. Crosby's playing good. Gunsel's playing good. Malkin's playing well. But they're playing well defensively. You look at some of their games, and that game against the Stars, they won 2-1 after falling behind early. The game against the Sabres, they've swept the Sabres. Again, you look at the teams, okay, they beat Buffalo twice. You can say they beat Columbus the game before that. They beat the St. Louis Blues. But those teams aren't scoring any goals against them. They're playing extremely well. They've strung together 6. And I don't want to jump in front of a team, even though they're on the road against a tough foe, and jump in front of a winning streak. I'd rather take the under against a team that's playing well, and then also against a team like Florida who aren't scoring a lot of goals either. 6.5 just seems high, and I get it. When you have two very good teams, you think, wow, Florida's got a lot of talent. Pittsburgh's got a lot of talent. It's got to be an automatic over. No, I don't think so. I under 6.5 is the only way I can lean here. I'm not going to take a side. To use the Pavlos one, and I just did stoppage time talking about the World Cup. I don't care who wins. I'm taking the under. Bryan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, for myself, Pittsburgh's a team right now I made a pretty good amount of money on so far this season. I don't know if I want them here, though. Take a look at what Pittsburgh's done in the month of December. They have done very well, but most of their games have been home games. They played Vegas, although Vegas has the best road record this season. Overall, Vegas has struggled so far in the month of December. They hosted St. Louis, another team that's struggling. Colorado, another team with a lot of injuries that haven't been winning. Buffalo and Dallas. And then they go on the road one time and they played in Buffalo. So they've had a very favorable schedule right now. This will be their toughest game so far in the month of December, and yet it's in the pick'em range. Florida is a team that gained a little confidence last time they went on the road. And if I had to play this one, I'd play Florida. Pittsburgh's been good to me, but they could be a little bit overrated going into this stretch of the schedule.
I would agree, and they have looked impressive, and we're not really taking anything against them by saying this, Bryan. I think that you're just kind of taking a look at their schedule and thinking that we might get a hungrier Florida team here at home. And I've talked about this on the show this year a lot, guys, and I want to make this again a point of this is that I used to care more about who a team is getting their wins against. I don't care about that as much as I used to. Some teams play down to their competition. Some teams play up to their competition. But why am I bringing this up right now? Well, Florida just dominated Columbus, right? I think Columbus is one of the worst teams in the league. They're right down there with Anaheim, I think, for a team that at least Columbus actually has some older players in the team. At least the Ducks are younger. But, I don't really care that Florida beat the Columbus Blue Jackets. I care that they won 4-0 against anybody. They're off a good performance. They're feeling good. They're off a good game. and now they get to play at home and take on a really competitive opponent. But they're off a game where they looked good. And, sometimes it doesn't matter where you get your chemistry from, who you got it against. It just matters if you have it. And I'll tell you what, guys, it's helped me out this year with my handicapping because I still care about strength of schedule and weakness of schedule. But these days, the fact of the matter is, if a team is playing well and they're off it and they have some good confidence, that's kind of the way I'd look at things. But in the Pittsburgh example that Bryan mentioned, that's an example that I still look at because, sure, they've been playing well. They've been in some good situations, but I do think that Florida is the hungrier team. So we've got Carm looking towards the under. Bryan and I on the same page here, I think, with this one. And so let's get a low-scoring Florida victory. I wouldn't mind that one bit here. Bryan, how about the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Rangers? This is always a competitive matchup when these two teams go head-to-head here. We have Toronto minus 125 road favorites here in New York, plus 105. Total is at 6 in this one. And, Bryan, all the talks about Marner's streak and the offensive players playing so well, I think you got to give a lot of credit to the goaltending and the defensemen for this Leafs team that have played so well, especially for the defensemen with all the injuries they've dealt with so far. And this Rangers team, well, can we still say they're underachieving, or are they just a little bit of a different team than we might have thought they were going to be? What are your thoughts here as the Rangers play host to the Leafs?
Yeah, the Rangers are getting better. A lot of teams struggle out of the early part of the schedule. Most of the time you'll find the successful teams do that. And obviously this is one of the successful teams last year in the New York Rangers, especially when a team jumps up. And I've watched this for years in the NBA. If a team gets 8 games better the next year, everybody thinks they're going to continue that. Well, there's usually a little bit of a drop back. And a lot of it is because teams are just used to the way they played and they're starting to figure them out a little bit. And obviously the team comes into the season a little bit maybe overconfident. And I think that's a situation with the Rangers here, but they are playing much better as of late. But in fact, you take a look what they've done in December so far. You take a look at expected goals per 60 and 5-on-5 play. They're up 0.63, which is very good until you take a look at their schedule, and 4 of the 6 games have been at home. They did get that nice victory the other day in Vegas, just ran it all over the Golden Knights, but they're playing better. But they may be a little bit overrated coming into this one in my regard. I prefer the Toronto side. I think Toronto's a little bit cheap right now. Toronto has shut out 3 of the last 4 opponents they have played. As you mentioned, this team right now is playing better defense than they have all season long. The schedule looks very good for Toronto so far this month of December. They haven't played a back-to-back game all month. And they've only played 1 game the last 4 days coming into this game against the Rangers. So they'll be ready. I think Toronto's a little bit cheap here, and I would play Toronto in this one for myself.
All right, Bryan, looking towards Toronto at a pretty good price. It's not really that often where you do get a price like this on the Maple Leafs. Carm, I hate to throw around these cliche terms, in handicapping, but I'm going to throw one at you here. Well, I guess not really a cliche term, but a situation where you're just off a match where it was just so dominant. You played a lesser opponent, a bottom-of-the-barrel team like Anaheim. You absolutely dominate them. And then now you play a lot more of a competitive game here against the Rangers. Does that play any factor to you when you look at this game, the fact that they're coming off such a blowout victory like they are?
No, it really doesn't. It's such a weird game. When I look at the Leafs and as Bryan said, they're recording shutouts. They're beating teams, and you can only beat who they put in front of you. A couple of games where they kind of struggled were, when they played teams like the Calgary Flames, the game that goes to OT, and they win it with a power play. They lose against Tampa Bay. Again, I think it was an OT game as well, too. This is going to be another tough opponent for them. The Rangers have won 4 straight. The Devils, beating the Devils, the Avalanche, Vegas, and St. Louis. Very tough teams. And then you see this price, Andrew, and literally this is what comes to my mind with the New York Rangers and me wanting to take the New York Rangers again, is if our producer can throw up an image for me. I believe this game is banana in the tailpipe game of the night. I literally believe that this is what this game is tonight. I like the New York Rangers. They're plus 105. It's Murray and net confirmed. It's likely going to be Shesterkin in goal. And I just think the Rangers fit into that same category as Tampa Bay and Calgary that can give a team fits. They're going to roll out lines. I get it. Mitch Marner is on a roll, 23 or 24 games, whatever it is at now. But it's an away game in New York, and I'm getting plus money with the Rangers at home. And I get it. The Leafs are playing well, 7-1 on the road, their last 8 games. But I assume the Rangers have turned the corner. I'm hoping they turn the corner. It's going to be a tough game. But I'm going to take plus money here. I'm going to take plus money as the banana in the tailpipe game of the night with the New York Rangers.
All right. Well, you cashed your prediction when you had the banana prop on the show. Now you got the graphic, Carm. So we'll see what happens here with the graphic. But the gloves are off at center ice as Bryan and Carm are going head to head here in this one. Guys, I'm just going to go ahead and rock with the over. Actually, it might surprise some people after I talked about the Maple Leafs playing a little bit better defensively lately, and the goaltending looking good. So I guess it's kind of a contrarian play there, which is shocking to say. Really, that it's a contrarian play on the over in a Maple Leafs game. It feels weird even saying that, but the Rangers are playing a lot better right now. They have their confidence going. They've won 4 straight games. In some of those games, they have been putting up goals. They're creating chances, and to use the analytical terms, like it does seem like the Leafs and their goaltenders, they're saving a lot of chances above expected. And I think that with all these defensemen being out, I think that the chances that they're allowing, I do think that coming off a blowout victory over a lesser opponent kind of makes you a little relaxed going to the next game. They're giving up chances. Even in that Ducks game, they gave up lots of chances, guys, but the Ducks just aren't good enough to score. I'm sorry. I mean, they don't have enough guys that can put the puck past the goaltender, whereas I think the Rangers do. So I'm actually going to go ahead with the over on this game, guys. So a couple side opinions and a total opinion for you on this game here. Let's keep it going with the Nashville Predators and the Winnipeg Jets. Nashville Predators here, plus 135. Winnipeg, minus 160. Total at 6 in this one. Going to go over to Carmine for his opinion on this game. And I just wanted to mention, I mean, this Nashville Predators team on the show a few days ago, I talked about how they just can't really score 2.58 goals on the season per game. And even when they do score, they put up 3 goals against Edmonton. Wasn't really enough because Edmonton puts up 6 of their own. Carm, this team just struggles to score. It's a big day in the Nashville Predator household when they score more than 3 goals, And the NHL these days, you have to be able to put up numbers. Of course, being a good defensive team is good. And of course, having a great goaltender is awesome. But you have to be able to put up goals. And the Winnipeg Jets, despite being off that wild game, they've proved that they can put up goals. What do you think about this game? Is this another opportunity where you see a dog in the picture here with an upset, or does Winnipeg get it done?
Well, before I discuss Winnipeg, I'm going to discuss Nashville here. And let me tell you, Andrew, right now, something big is going to happen in Nashville, and it's got to happen soon. It's all the talk on the radio stations about this team, the fans online. They are so disappointed, and they are going at it with this franchise. They don't like the direction this franchise is going, which means something's got to happen to this franchise. 27 points through 27 games. This is a team who last year made the playoffs, played well, but probably played better than was expected. So I think people came into this season expecting them to take the next step forward when that really wasn't going to happen. Something's going to happen in Nashville, and we're going to see it over the next month or two with this team. There's going to be a players move. Something's going to happen with this team. I'm telling you right now. And now I can't take them tonight. You go to Winnipeg, and listen, Winnipeg shot themselves in the foot in that game against the Vegas Golden Knights. It's a game that they should have won. They lose that game 6-5 by taking a penalty in the last 2 minutes, and a high sticking penalty on a sort of partial breakaway to boot, and then give up a goal, and they're done. Hellebuck did not play well in that game. Gives up a bad rebound very late in the period that gets stuffed into the net, and they go into the break down a goal. It is a bad thing to happen to this team. Hellebuck's been very good at home. Prior to that game, as I had mentioned, he had only allowed, I think, you look at it, now 5 and 6 goals against him, but he had only allowed more than 3 goals in one game, or more than 2 goals in one game at home through that stretch of the season. That was to the Leafs losing 4-1 back on October the 22nd. Good bounce back spot here against a Nashville team who don't score a lot of goals, as you mentioned. I get it. It's at 160, but at 160, it's a play for me. I'm going to take a Winnipeg in this spot. Bryan?
You kind of flummoxed me there for a minute when you said there's something huge is coming in Nashville, something big is coming in Nashville. I thought you were going to talk about the Dolly Parton rock and roll record she's going to make because she made the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, she's scoring more than the Nashville Predators are, I got to believe, even at that age.
I think she's scoring more than half the married people that I know. Anyway, we'll get back to the hockey game. Nashville's a team, you mentioned it, they've scored, 14 goals in the last 6 games. They just haven't been putting it together. Good defensive team, but they just haven't been scoring enough goals. And I hate to come back and say they're like Winnipeg here, but they've lost both their games at home on this homestand. This is their final game at home. I think since Andrew and I started talking about them and the 50-1 to win it all, I don't think they won a hockey game. But I think they're going to win this one tonight. I had them the other day against Vegas. They were just as good as Vegas was and probably deserved that victory, and they feel the same way. I think they come out here and get the victory here. The line's a little bit more than I was expecting. I thought we were going to get something about 10 cents a little bit cheaper, but Winnipeg's the side I would look at in this contest.
I thought, Bryan, that I might have been seeing something when I was taking a look at those odds while we were talking together on the show. And when I see stuff like that, I thought I might be crazy. I still don't think I was, because I believe my eyes and what I was seeing on the screen. It's not like I was just making that up, but I looked the other day. I'll take a look at it right now to try and find what they are, because I think it's fun to look at it. So I'm seeing 35-1. So that's a pretty big difference from what I saw when I was talking with you last. So unless there was a correction, I was probably seeing it wrong. I want to make that clear for everybody watching. I didn't think I was, but either way, I think 35-1 for a team that was playing as well as they are. You know, Carmine and I have talked about futures together before, about how you try and, you might pick up a favorite or two, like a team that's near the top of the pack. That's a good plus money. Then also you want to pick some ones like that, like the 25-1s, the 30-1s, the chance to slip in the playoffs, make a few upsets, and you set yourself up for a nice hedge. And even at 35-1, it's still a pretty good price there. But Winnipeg is without they are without Nikolai Ehlers, and Pierre-Luc Dubois is questionable for today's game, like we're talking about with this team. And it's funny, Bryan, like you said, they haven't really looked great since we hyped them up. They have to look like a little bit of a different team here. But Nashville, a team that, like we said, struggled to score. I like the under 6 in this game. I think that it was, let's not forget how, I get it, what you were saying there. Carm was talking about how, they shot themselves in the foot. It was just an overall reckless game that Winnipeg played against Vegas, and they're a team that knows how to bounce back defensively. So, guys, sometimes I ride streaks, whether it's a side or a total, but sometimes I also try and find an opportunity for a team that's going to be looking to correct the way that they played. And I see that all the time with teams that are high scoring, and I try and find a spot for them to be an under or vice versa. This, to me, is an under game. Under 6 is the play for me in this contest. I think we'll see a low-scoring victory, probably for the Winnipeg Jets. Let's get into St. Louis Blues and the Edmonton Oilers. Bryan, we're going to go to you first on this game. And we have Edmonton minus 170, St. Louis plus 145, total at 6.5. I'll hand the mic over to you.
Yeah, St. Louis has played 7 games in the month of December. 4 of those games are at home, and yet they've got a 0.87 expected goal plus minus per 60 on 5-on-5. I have a system I use in hockey that points to St. Louis, but I can't get there. They're just not playing well enough. Edmonton's a team that's playing probably their best hockey of the season, or pretty close to it, because they're looking really good right now. The problem is, at least when I look at Edmonton, they're a team that starts to believe in themselves a little bit too much. We've seen this a lot of times. Edmonton had a nice winning streak earlier this season, and then they get beat and they start to struggle a little bit. I'm concerned about Edmonton in that regard, but that's the only way I would look at this. I'm not going to lay the 170. I just think they have too much speed here for St. Louis. But they failed enough times in the big home favorite role where I don't want Edmonton here, but I wouldn't put any money on St. Louis either.
Carm, what do you think? I mean, St. Louis plus 145 here, an Edmonton team that has been playing pretty well. Overall, I think, they're often a loss, and I was happy I made some money on that, but or they're off some games, I guess, that they haven't looked their best on the, penalty kill, taking care of things in their own end. But I do think that against a team like St. Louis, these two teams kind of match up similarly as styles of play. But Edmonton just seems to be better. What do you think, Carmen? Is this priced correctly?
I think it is. St. Louis is one of those teams I've yet to figure out. There is no rhyme and reason to this team. In that last game, if you remember, I love to talk about when I'm right, and I love to talk about when I'm wrong. You got to put it out there. St. Louis plays Nashville, and I opened by talking about how Nashville can't score any goals, and they're 2.38, and then I threw the curveball and said their last 5 games between these two teams, they've scored 45 goals, averaging 9 goals a game. And I think my lean on that game was the over, and it finishes 1-0 in overtime. It literally finishes 1-0 in overtime against Nashville, who didn't score a goal, of course, in that game. I just don't get this St. Louis team. They don't score a lot of goals, and the problem is you're going to Edmonton, and if the Oilers put up 4, is that enough to win the game? It likely is. These teams have played twice thus far, and the road team has won both games. St. Louis went to Edmonton when Edmonton was playing well, and beat them 2-0. They shut them out in Edmonton, and then Edmonton returns the favor, goes to St. Louis and beats them 3-1. So they've been low scoring games between. Maybe that's the recipe for the St. Louis Blues, is to get into one of those tight battles and try and eke out a win. I can't take unders in Edmonton Oiler games, so that's a pass for me. I can't do the Koken thing where I'm going to lean back and tell you I got no opinion on the game. But if I'm going to take this game, I can't lay the minus 170 or minus 180 on the Edmonton Oilers. I'd probably take them in regulation time. Lay the minus 110, minus 115, and if they get it done, they get it done in regulation time. And if they don't, I'm gonna, I don't go down with a minus 170 favorite.
Well, Carm, one thing of note for this Oilers team is that every time they win right now, they score at least 4 goals. A team total at 3.5 over minus 120, money line at minus 170. So that is kind of an interesting thing to look at. I mean, it's very rare for this team to win a game when they only score 2 or 3 goals. So something to look at as far as the Oilers are concerned in this game. But I think overall we could see an over in this game between these two clubs. I mean, St. Louis off a low-scoring victory where they took 4 penalties. They went 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. Their power play itself went 0 for 3. And I think that you put either of these teams on the power play, really, that's where they are the most dangerous. I mean, Connor McDavid, Draisaitl, lots of great weapons on the St. Louis Blues. I think we could get up and over the total here in this game. Obviously, it is shaded towards the over for a reason. But I think just the way these teams are playing lately, giving up chances, whether it does read it on the score sheet or not, I think we can see some goals. So I'll go over 6.5. But I'll tell you what, guys, I truly do believe if you like the Oilers, the minus 120 over 3.5 team total is a pretty good play, seeing as you go down the list here against Nashville, against Minnesota, against Arizona, against Montreal, Chicago, Florida, New York. All of those victories they've had in their last 10 games, they've also hit their team total. So you can just swipe out the money line out of the picture and take that team total at a minus 120. Of course, the regulation, like Carm said, is a great bet as well. I just wanted to point out how great of a team total team the Oilers are in general. So any thoughts on that, Carm?
Yeah, listen, Andrew, I like that. And, the point is, and this is the interesting thing about this, talking about this game, is that I'm the one who chose these 4 games to discuss. And I thought I could get there with a pick in the St. Louis Edmonton one. But this is why I'm trying to explain to you guys, as much as I'm passing on this game, but I'm giving an opinion on what I would probably lean towards taking. And the reason is this is, a lot of you guys who are watching out there, you tune in to try and get some information. Some of you are our clients. And I don't want to lead you astray on a play. This is not making my card. I am not giving this to clients. So even if you're not a client, I want to make sure that you understand it's not on my card. And I'll just give you some information and why I can't get there on this game, because you're tuning in and sometimes you're looking for some free plays. And you take it and you're like, oh man, that Carmine with this play that lost or whatever. I want you to understand where we're coming from with these. So if you held the gun to my head and said, I need a play from you on this game, which I clearly chose as part of the 4, it would likely be the Oilers in a regulation time more than anything else. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Blues won this game 3-2.
Bryan, you are the number 2 college basketball handicapper last 30 days. I know this is a hockey show, but you've done very well with college basketball. Obviously, NFL, college football. You're involved with a lot of it. What do you have going for clients this week?
Don't know what I'm going to have come bowl season because there's so much going on this year. It's a strange year compared to others because there's so many people opting out and moving schools. So if I have any bowl action, it'll be day of when I get confirmation of who's playing and who's not. But I do have one college basketball play up right now for seasonal clients. I also have a 4% in the NHL. 4% is a big, strong play for me. Unfortunately, you don't have to pay for it because I'm going to use it here as my free plays. I'm going off the board a little bit on today's card. Dallas is playing at Washington. Stars have done very well as of late. They've got expected goals plus minus 60 and 5-on-5 of 0.76, which is a nice number. So you consider that they've played 7 games. 5 of those games have been at home. We know the difference between playing home and road for most of the teams in the NHL. So that's a big advantage when you're playing home. Well, just the opposite is the Washington Capitals. As opposed to the 0.76 of plus for Dallas, they're 0.70 plus. So they're basically the same. Yet 6 of their 7 games were played on the road. That's pretty impressive. We've been looking for a spot to play on Washington. Now they're starting to come, and they're playing much better. We just saw the Ovechkin get his 800th goal. This is a team playing with some spirit right now. They have played 7 games the last 13 days, but none of those games were a back-to-back situation. And if you were to talk to somebody in the NBA or the NHL, they would tell you they would prefer to be able to play 1 game, take a day off, play 1 game, take a day off. That's basically what Washington has done on the road all this time. So I don't think that slows them down here. And Washington, the last 4 games, have scored 4 or more goals each and every time. I want to be on this team right now, and you're getting them at a pretty good price here against this Dallas Stars team.
They're certainly looking like a good hockey team right now, and they started off slow, Bryan, and I believe that's one of the reasons why we're getting some pretty good prices on them right now. I like that play quite a bit. Bryan, looking at Washington there. Over to you, Carmine. We're going to see you on Wager Talk today, of course, with Prez and Teddy in a short period of time, talking about that big game coming up this weekend, the World Cup Finals, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Carm, but what do you have going on for clients tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have, as far as the World Cup goes, and it'll be up after Wager Talk today, a play and a bunch of props on the World Cup Final. Also, the third place game that goes on Saturday, Croatia and Morocco. And then there's four plays up tonight, 4 best bet selections in NHL, 4 games I really like, and I'm hoping I'm on the right side of them, of course, for all my clients out there. You can get those over, of course, at wagertalk.com on my page. Andrew and I still have that NHL promo up, NHL 150 to get 150 off the rest of the NHL season. It's been great since November 1st. I always hate using the number one at Wager Talk in NHL since November 1st, but 46 units. These guys on the show with me absolutely nailed it out of the ballpark last year in NHL, and they're having good seasons now. So I'm trying to stay ahead of them. It's so tough. But with that said, guys, you know what my best bet is? We discussed it earlier. It is the banana in the tailpipe game of the night. I am taking the New York Rangers against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm getting plus money. Please let it be Shesterkin and goal. We know it's Murray for them. And hopefully the Rangers have turned the corner. They've beaten the Devils, the Avalanche, the Vegas Golden Knights, and St. Louis Blues, their last four. This is very well their toughest test other than the Devils game, facing a Toronto Maple Leafs team that have won 7 of their last 8 games on the road and seem to be beating up on everybody. But let's take the plus money and the Rangers at plus 105 as the show best bet. We appreciate you guys tuning in as always.
Love the play. Love the graphic even more. Looking good there in that orange tie, Karma. I do like it. Guys, great show here today. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in as always. And again, that promo code NHL150 to take $150 off the NHL season pass. If you're looking to get on board long term, that's what you should be using. Get a nice discount. Don't buy just one play. Don't buy 3 days. Get on board for the entire season. And of course, this does include the playoffs. And the playoffs, as you guys know, you get a lot of plays, futures, and all that good stuff. So for me, guys, we've got some plays going tonight. I'm in bounce back mode in college basketball. I've got a good handful of plays I'm looking at for the NHL for tonight. So hopefully I have a big night also involved in the NFL. I think it's a great game to bet on there in the NFL, and usually the Thursday night games have not been great. Hopefully tonight it is. I'm going with the Seattle Kraken Carolina Hurricanes game over 6 is my best bet. And guys, really, the Kraken have kind of started to slide a little bit. They're giving up goals against a lot of teams. They gave up 4 to Montreal, 4 to Washington, 6 to Tampa Bay. When they play good teams, they seem to be a little bit outmatched. They were a good team at the start of the year against teams that, weren't too great, but now they're giving up goals, and their goaltending is starting to regress a little bit as well. And Carolina, as good as they can be defensively, I think that we're going to see a Seattle team looking to bounce back, looking to be aggressive and hungry after that embarrassing loss against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I think we can get both teams up and over the total of 6 here. So that's my best bet with Seattle and Carolina over 6. We've got Carmine looking at the New York Rangers on the money line, and Bryan Leonard taking a look at the Washington Capitals on the money line. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate all of you guys. And on behalf of Carmine and Bryan, we'll see you tomorrow.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.